I want to talk about something in prayer that is simple yet profound, something that would aid our understanding in the place of prayer, something that will probably propel our prayer life to the next level and help in the place of prayer. I'm going to start by saying that God doesn't get bigger. Again, it's simple, but very profound. God doesn't get bigger. God doesn't get more spiritual. God doesn't grow. God doesn't expand. And it sounds simple until I build upon it. I understand that these are some things we think in the place of prayer, and that sometimes hinders what God is doing for us and in and through us. I want to use the story of the prodigal son as a case study. And many times when we talk about the story in the context of teaching people not to be like the prodigal son. Because the prodigal son was prodigal, like the name of the story. He took, his part of the riches, left, squandered and came back. And rightfully so. But I want us to look at that story a little differently. I want us to look at it from a different lens, from a different perspective. So we'll say that the father is a similitude of God. So the father being God and the two sons are we, the children of God. Understand that the prodigal son who received whatever he received, only received that because he prayed to his father to show him where those things are. Many times in the place of prayer, when we ask God for things, or when we are believing God for things, what we are assuming is that God is going to be doing something different. Listen, God is not doing more of what he has already done. Let me say that again. God is not doing more of what he has already done. In fact, God is not providing what he hasn't already provided. When we ask God for things, God is not doing a miracle in that sense. God is not manufacturing things. Again, the story of the prodigal son, the father already had all things. His son only got his portion when he asked, and his eyes were open to where they were. Some of us are like the other son who complains and says, Father, I've been your son all the while. I've been in the house, but yet you've not given me my portion. Many times what we do is that we're expecting God in that sense to create a miracle, but God is not providing what he has already provided. Instead, our point of view in prayer is to ask God to adjust us to what he's doing, is to ask God to open our eyes to what he's doing. The principle of receiving is that God is not doing anything new, is that we are adjusting to what God is doing. Again, the son asked, give me a portion of what of my resource, of what you already have. So we are asking God to open our eyes to what he has provided, not to what he is going to provide. God is not providing what he hasn't already provided. Listen to me very carefully. The woman with the issue of blood did something different, not God changing. While she was having the issue to the point where she touched the hem of Jesus' garment, God didn't change. God didn't get more powerful. God didn't get more spiritual. She made up her mind to do something different. If I could but touch the hem of Jesus' garment. Matthew 19, the point where the disciples couldn't cast out a devil, to Acts of Apostles chapter 3, to when Peter and John said, I get beautiful silver and gold I have not, but that what we have. God didn't get more spiritual. Their understanding got better. Intimacy happened. In the place of prayer, God is not getting more spiritual. What the Lord does, that he adjusts us to what he's doing. He begins to open our eyes to see where provisions are. He begins to open our eyes to align with what he's doing. God is not providing what he hasn't already provided. Now, don't get me wrong. There is timing and God's will to things. But at the end of those things, at the end of God's timing and God's will, is us adjusting to what God is doing. God is the constant. We are the variable. In other words, he never changes. There is nothing that improves about him. We are the one who change. We are the one who adjust what God is doing. So in the place of prayer, we must understand that God is a constant. In the place of prayer, we must understand that God is not doing anything different than what he has already done in creation. Nothing. The prayer is our eyes should be opened. The prayer is you should be pointed to the right direction to what God is doing, because God is not providing what he hasn't already provided. Remember, prodigal son asked for his portion and it was pointed to the right direction. Why some of us are complaining that the cattle on a thousand hill are his, yet we don't have anything? Because the prayer should be, God, open my eyes to see what you are doing, not I want to do what I want to do. So the way it works is, in place of prayer, remember, he is a constant. Nothing improves about him. We are the variable. We change. We adjust to what he's doing. Understand, nothing improves about God, but we adjust in prayer to what God is doing.